So Blackpool historically has had a high number of children that have been both permanently excluded and receive fixed-term exclusions from school, with very little real understanding of the underlying needs of those children.
Schools weren't equipped to teach children with additional needs, and they were running out of ideas, so they were just excluding children, thinking, right, we need a break, and then they were coming back, nothing had changed, so they were just on the rise and increasing, and that has a big impact on a child, saying that you don't want them.
Nationally, exclusions were high historically, and Blackpool were part of that same issue. And in Blackpool, what that meant was we had fixed-term exclusions across the board were going up, but we were also having permanent exclusions going up. And that impacted on us in the PRU because our numbers were through the roof. And at one point, we were in fact the largest PRU in the world, which wasn't something to be proud about. And we needed to tackle that. And we had a local solution to try and look at that, both looking at us internally within the PRU, but also looking at how we could support schools locally as well. And the REACH programme was part of a solution to try and address that. So the REACH programme was designed to understand the needs better of young people who were getting excluded. In Blackpool, that involved a collaboration between 9 local schools, primary and secondary, but also including the pupil referral unit. We are so passionate, our whole staff are so passionate about recognising that these children are not just badly behaved. There's always more behind that, and we really wanted to share that with our local colleagues as well.
We were supported by the REACH programme to find the triggers and the problems for these children through Ali Bellaby, who is our programme director, and she spent a lot of time researching with us the triggers and the problems, the background to the children, and she kept asking us why do you think that is? And that really made us think and research these children individually. So we looked at the family background, we looked at the home life, we looked at the school, we looked at their attendance, and we then started to realise that lots of these children had ACEs, which are adverse childhood experiences, and the 7 children that we selected all had 4 or more, which then had a really big effect on their childhood and then further later in life.
We've observed that the students are communicating to us a lot better. They're more open in how they're feeling. They're understanding themselves a lot more. Their attendance is going up. Their academic ability has gone up as well because they're in class, on task more, and they've got that confidence to ask the questions.
We found that the breakfast intervention worked really well for just a positive start to the day. It built relationships up with staff. We were able to play games and talk and chat, have a social breakfast, which is missing from many of their lives, and to give them a positive start to the day.
So we found that the children's attendance improved, that they were staying in class for longer rather than needing a breakout space, and they were actually enjoying being in the classroom and learning and making progress.
They had built the resilience if there'd been an incident where they needed some time out, rather than them escalating that to furniture being lifted or staff being hurt or trying to hurt themselves. They were able to take themselves out of the situation, either into one of the breakout areas or chill out areas, take some time and then talk to us about it afterwards, and they understood it a bit more. We took the time to listen to them a lot more as well. Our approach changed because we realised that we were getting better results by saying less, coming down to their level, and giving them that opportunity to express how they were feeling. Then overall they had built their resilience because they were able to cope with a challenging situation quicker and get back into class on task.
It's called The Bridge, and there's like lots of toys and teachers that help you. Like, say if you're naughty, you go in there. And I was really naughty, so I instead of being with my class, I used to be in there, I think for a full 6 weeks, and that also helped me change round.
I was always shy, and I never really spoke about my ideas, but after then I started speaking more in group activities.
My personality's changed because now I make friends. I don't just like find a group of friends that I can join and just play with them, because now I play with all sorts of people. Play with everyone in my class now.
So through the REACH project, we've developed much greater partnerships with particular schools that are part of the project, but also other schools, looking at their interventions, looking at different things that they're doing, and trying to pick the things that might work for a certain group of children. Not every intervention works for each child, so being able to sort of talk to different people and find out what's going on has allowed us to widen our set of interventions.
The other exciting thing actually was seeing schools learn from the small scale and start to make it bigger and more impactful across their whole school. One of our secondary schools, for example, took the decision that these diagnostic assessments they were doing across a significant proportion of their year 7s, so that they could have an early intervention response to need that was coming through the door. So already they were starting to look at the wider context.
By looking at the culture change that happened with just this small cohort, we very quickly realised this could have a massive impact on the exclusions across school. So we've very quickly, very rapidly trained most of the teaching assistants in the same culture and done lots of CPD with teachers, so they're aware of the practices and interventions that can be put in place. And we've reduced exclusions by almost 85% across the whole of school by using this. As a head teacher, it's an amazing feeling, because that's what you want. You want the children in school, you want them to be learning, and it's not just the learning, they're also more settled, they feel safe, and they feel loved, basically, which is what you want for the children in primary school.
It matters for their future because they need to be able to speak and listen and to be understood, which was one of our targets. And it also matters then that they can communicate and they can read and write, so that later in life they can then have the prospect of a job and be confident enough to go for a job interview.
When I grow up, I would like to be a mechanical engineer.
I want to go to university and college.
You need to do education and get good at reading and writing and maths and learn about cars.
Coming into school makes me feel happy and joyful.
In the classroom, I'm a lot calmer, the classroom's a lot calmer. My practice has become more understanding of where the people's come from, and personally I'm able to deal with stressful situations at home a lot better, and I'm happier coming into work and going home as well.
I think if you'd have asked me prior to REACH, I was probably in the camp where I thought that the children just can't get it right, maybe they're not suitable for school, and I certainly think my shift has changed. I'm now certainly much more inclusive in my way of thinking, but more to the point, I'm now looking at a child with behaviour needs and thinking, actually, why is that child presenting with those behaviour needs? What's going on underneath that? They're communicating something to us, and let's find out how and why. And that certainly wouldn't have been my thinking prior to this programme, but it's certainly my way of thinking now.
My advice would be to other teachers who are dealing with children with high exclusions is that we've got to think about the child. What can we put in place? Because that child's life matters, and it's up to us to make that difference.